Welcome all to another episode of Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya YouTube channel. Today we will be learning what is a SIM, why we need to protect SIM, how to protect SIM, and why these steps are important for us in protecting our online identity. On our previous chapter, we learned in this pandemic world, evidence of human existence are Facebook accounts, WhatsApp, Telegram, or Signal accounts, Instagram accounts, LinkedIn accounts, Google Classrooms, etc. If a human being is not active on all the social platforms or any of the social platform, that human being is more or less considered as dead. As a first step in learning how we can protect our online identity, we learned the importance of passwords. And to recap the password safety tips and tricks, let's go through the basic steps. The one thing that we learned was we need to create separate email accounts for banking and social network. We must avoid using single sign-on on all other accounts. Make sure that we use different passwords for every accounts wherever possible. Be sure not to share passwords. Avoid entering passwords on devices that you don't own or control. Avoid entering passwords when using unsecured connections, say for example hotspots. And how a password can be created using uppercase, lowercase, more than 8 characters, numbers, symbols, etc. And we gone through some of the examples of a good password as well as a bad passwords with some examples, etc. And we also learned how to be strategic with our secret questions and answers. So what we learned in the previous chapter is the importance of password and how password is the first step in protecting our information available on the internet. So today we are going to learn the first step of mobile protection, which is SIM protection, and how protecting a SIM will help us in maintaining our online identity. Now let's go to understand what is a SIM. We have used SIM cards close to 22 years in India, starting from BPL mobile phones, right? There was a BPL SIM card which is like in 1998. Then came BSNL, then came Idea. So we have known to SIM cards from various service providers and through various generations of mobile phone technology. It's a small plastic card with one side metallic connections, and the other side is a pure plastic. SIM card that we use in mobile phones is also known as subscriber identification module or subscriber identity module, which is in short form called as SIM. For majority of us, we don't even know that SIM card contains an operating system, which is called or known as Card Operating System or COS. The card operating system stores IMSI number and its related keys. Majority of us will be even shocked to learn that this SIM card contains a microcontroller chip which actually runs the card operating system. There is also a power requirement for this chip which ranges from 1.8 volt to 5 volt. SIM card even contains a ROM as well as RAM. The ROM area contains COS. Then comes to the very important point of IMSI, which is stored on the SIM card. The IMSI number contains information related to mobile country code, mobile network code, mobile subscription identification number MSIN. So in layman terms, your SIM card actually remembers that it belongs to country India, to which subscriber it is actually connected to, whether it is BSNL, Idea, Vodafone, Airtel or Jio, and what is a mobile subscriber identification number, which is finally mapped to your social security numbers like driving license, Aadhaar, etc. So, SIM in short, which is less than 5 centimeter in size, contains lot of information and it is an active electronic device. And let's learn how SIM works 24/7 on your mobile phone. Every SIM has an IMSI number and it is passed on to the mobile operator every time the phone boots up. If a SIM pin is enabled, this IMSI number is not passed to the mobile operator all of a sudden. If SIM pin is enabled, the mobile equipment will prompts for that particular SIM pin. It cross verifies the SIM pin, then only the IMSI is passed on to the mobile operator. Point number two would be once the IMSI is beamed on to the mobile operator searches the IMSI on their subscriber list and will try to identify the associated keys. Once the IMSI is identified, the mobile operator generates a random sequence and signs in with IMSI data stored in the mobile operator, which again creates another sequence. This sequence is called signed response 1 or SRES underscore 1. This is all happening on the mobile operator area. Parallelly, the mobile operator will ask the mobile equipment by sending a random sequence to the mobile equipment. The mobile equipment also creates another sequence with IMSI stored on the SIM, which again creates another sequence. This sequence is called SRES2 or signed response 2. Now we have in one end signed response 1, which is the sequence generated by the mobile operator along with the IMSI data it remembers. We have a signed response 2, which is generated by the mobile equipment, triggered by mobile operator, and created the second sequence. If both the sequence matches, mobile communication is established. This connection is established so seamlessly, so fast in all the GSM or on all other technologies where SIM is involved. There will be some differences how the encryption is happening between the GSM and the CDMA, but in general, there is a handshaking method that happens and it is more or less remains the same. So, as a customer, the only area where we could actually have some control is using our mobile equipment and talking to the SIM by providing the SIM pin. All other step is fully automated. We have no control of all this communication, and as a layman, we can't break in or manipulate any of this step. Only area that we have some control is to have the SIM pin being enabled. Now you must be asking why we need to enable SIM pin. What if we don't enable it? To be brutally honest, 85% of the population who uses a mobile phone doesn't even know such a SIM pin exists, or we can change that SIM pin. So let's understand what are the threats available in this pandemic world which we are not aware of, and how enabling a SIM pin can protect our online identity. Why we need to protect SIM pin is because of three rampant threats available in the online world. One is called SIM jacking, the other is called SIM card swapping, and the third is called SIM cloning. SIM jacking starts via an SMS message. SMS message contains hidden codes which triggers the SAT browsers in the SIM application toolkit that many operators use on their SIM cards. So, as already we have learned, there is a card operating system which is running on the SIM, and SIM is powered by 1.8 volt to 5 volt, and the SIM card is a microcontroller chip which is always active. So, this SMS message triggers the SIM application toolkit, and via this application, some codes would be run on that particular SIM, and via that particular codes, the attacker gets control of your entire mobile phone. Once the SIM jacking happens, nothing can be done because all phones are vulnerable for this kind of attack, which includes our latest iPhones to Androids. Why this attacking method is so potent is because it is using the SIM application kit, which many mobile operators still use to manage their subscriber base for maintenance purposes as well as for network upgrades. The second most rampant method is SIM card swapping. In this attack, the SIM is duplicated. The duplication can be done by anyone by various social engineering methods. Compared to SIM jacking, SIM card swapping is more potential because it is actually duplicating your SIM and making the primary SIM terminated. The customer will never know until the primary SIM is properly disabled and rendered useless. The third most powerful threat is SIM cloning. It is very potential when compared to SIM jacking or SIM card swapping. Why? Because here the entire details of SIM is cloned onto a blank or virtual SIM card. Here the threat is so huge the customer is not able to understand whether some hacking is happening on a real time. Both primary and the secondary, which is a cloned SIM, will work at the same time. The hacker can access to all SIM communication, including authentication codes, OTPs, email address, etc. By now, you might have understood how law enforcement agencies are getting mobile phone recordings, mobile phone tracking, etc. They are using any of these methods to track the criminals also. Why we need to protect SIM is because if the law enforcement agencies are getting these details for better good of the society, cyber criminals are using these methods to harm a particular individual, his online identity, his daily bread, his financial transactions, his his entire identity removal from the online world, etc. etc. So that is a need that we need to protect the SIM. And how we can protect the SIM is by enabling SIM passcode or SIM pin. Many of us who is from technology superior world or in developed countries might be asking, is SIM pin is the only best method? No, there are other safe methods like two-factor authentication and various other methods. Unfortunately, in India, enabling SIM pin or SIM card passcode is the only method that is available to common man. And how we can protect on a daily basis or a monthly basis is changing the SIM passcode on a frequent manner. It can be monthly or quarterly. The third important method is rebooting your phone daily and ensuring that the SIM authentication happens on a daily basis. If you are doing a reboot and the SIM authentication doesn't happen, there are only two answers in front of you. Answer number one, either your SIM card is completely dead or some unforeseen event had happened. To enable SIM passcode, we need to understand what is the default PIN. In India, most of the mobile subscribe service providers, the default PIN is 0000 or 1234. It can be Vodafone Idea, it can be Jio, it can be Airtel, it can be BSNL. If you don't know the default PIN or you are scared to provide the default PIN which is available on the search engine, feel free to call customer care for SIM PIN. If you ask this for SIM PIN, sometimes the customer care will not be providing you the details. In such a case, feel free to escalate to higher authorities on the mobile subscriber platform and obtain the default PIN. SIM PIN is also known as PUK. And let me remind you, for obtaining the SIM PIN or PUK, you don't have to shell out any money for the same. Let's understand how to enable SIM passcode on an Android phone or on an iOS phone. In both phones, you have to go to Settings app. In Android, you have to go to Security and Lock Screen and identify whether there is an Advanced tab. Advanced tabs are mostly available towards the bottom. Scroll down. Once you click Advanced, there is another submenu called SIM card lock. Once you click on SIM card lock, there will be options called change SIM pin. Inside the same SIM pin, you have to first input your old code. It can be either 0000 or 1234 or the default pin given by your customer care. Whatever that code is, that is your old code. Once the old code is typed correctly, you can put your new SIM pin and then proceed by clicking OK. Always remember, if you give the old code wrong for 10 times in some cases and 3 times in the default cases, your phone will be locked. But you don't have to panic at all. You can reach out to the nearest customer care office and you can mention that your SIM pin is locked. They will give you the PUK number You can put in the PUK number and the SIM will work fine. If it is on iOS platform, these options are available in settings in either cellular data or mobile data, and the option that you need to change is SIM pin. The same steps that you follow in Android, it's also applicable here. You have to input your old code, then you have to include your new SIM pin. So the default SIM pin is again 0000 or 1234. So why we need to protect our SIM pin, or why we need to protect our SIM, is the first step in protecting your mobile device. How we can protect our mobile device is by enabling SIM pin, changing the SIM pin on a monthly or quarterly basis, rebooting the phone daily, and doing SIM authentication. Just to recap, what we have learned today is how to enable SIM pin and protect our mobile phone. That's all for this chapter. Please feel free to subscribe and enable notification so that all the chapters that we pushed via our channel reaches you on a timely manner. Thank you and have a great day ahead. God bless us all.